One of our emotional healing boot camps has a segment where we send the participants out into the community for 3 hours to practice as many random acts of kindness as they can in the allowed time. Most of them have so much fun that it's hard to get them to come back. And part of that can be explained by making the statement that you can in fact buy happiness despite the claims to the contrary. Yet another component of that fun making is that there isn't a plan. So these people have to create opportunities out of nothing. They have to look at the everyday activities of normal people and turn them into places where they can help or be of assistance. And that puts them squarely in the present moment. It's being present that makes our lives magic. In addition to all of that, studies have proven that when you buy your friend or relative something that you know that they would love, you are in fact making yourself at least as happy as them. In fact, some studies show that the happiness experienced by the giver of the gift is distinctly higher and longer lasting than that of the recipient. All of that gets amplified when you give something that's taken you years to accumulate. And for most of us, that piece of gold is actually knowledge or experience. So when we teach someone how to do something that's taken us decades to master, we're giving from the deepest level because the wisdom doesn't leave us. It took us ages to get it, and it continues to exist within us, so there isn't an exchange. It's just one of the many magnificent ways that we can create wealth because we've multiplied what we had because 2 people now have it where previously only 1 did. For many people, sharing the treasures that have taken a lifetime of experience to gain is the deepest form of happiness because it isn't really happiness. It's more like contentment and fulfillment through contribution. As far as giving is concerned, I'm sure you've been in that Christmas spot, the place where your delight at getting the perfect gift spills over beyond just being happy and morphs into contentment. At that time, and for some time afterwards, all is right and good in your world. The concept is something we can't teach. It's something that most people need to experience to understand. It's why so many of us love coaching. Whether we coach as an amateur or as a professional, the emotional rewards outweigh the financial ones by a considerable margin. In fact, many great coaches would prefer not to be paid. Yet the media keeps screaming that we need a boat and a car and an overseas holiday to be happy. But perhaps the actions of my friend Pete will explain why that doesn't hold water. My daughter needed to be in London for a wedding and was struggling to get an airfare together when Pete stepped in and bought her one, round trip business class. And I knew Pete had been organising the trip himself, so I asked if it was now off the calendar. Yes, he said, but I'm having so much fun thinking about Emma having her first business class trip than if I went there myself. So Emma was a bit flabbergasted, but had the thoughtfulness to send in pictures of her whole trip as it was happening. Those pictures went up on his fridge and stayed there for a very long time. Yep, happiness is sometimes something you give yourself by giving something to someone else. It's why Christmas works. Despite the relos testing our patience and our good humour, we get off on giving. Maybe you could make Christmas a more common event in your life.